Hello my friends. Okay, this video I would like to pose a question to all of you. Now, this question is, what have you guys done to make yourself a better language learner? What have you guys done to make yourself a better language learner? Are you a better language learner today than you were before? So what about myself? What have I done? Well, the first thing, which we all know, is I kept an open mind. Okay, now under this category you have several things, at least for myself. Accepting peculiar things that are different, that you won't find in your native language. Accept and try other methods than your own, or than my own. And that's avoiding being biased, and then helping others by teaching what I've learned in targeted language. Okay, these are things I've done over the past years that made me a better language learner today. Now, back up to the list. Accepting peculiar things. Now, this is very, very, very common. Like, a lot of people who start learning foreign languages and they don't have that much experience, they will say, once they encounter something that's strange that they've never seen in, let's say, English, then they will go crazy about it. They'll say, well, why did they use this? Why did they use that? You know, it drives them nuts. Like, it could be something in like Japanese, they use the ga and o, those type of particles, and people will wonder why they use those. Why can't they just take them out? They fail to realize that that's just part of the language. That's how the language is. That's just how the language is spoken. So for myself, you know, I kept an open mind and was able to accept these. So this is part of why I'm a better language learner today, because as I pick up more languages, I continue to accept these peculiar things without a problem. Okay, no mind block when it comes to that. The second thing, accepting and trying other methods other than my own. Now, we all have everyone has their own way of learning languages, right? And over the years, I've seen, like, let me see, before I got on YouTube, before I started making videos on YouTube, I had my own way of learning languages. I was successful, I was still learning. But after I started making videos and whatnot, I realized that there were other methods out there like Pimsleur. I never really used Pimsleur before. Like, I didn't really hear too much about Pimsleur. Maybe a few times, but I never really heard as much as I hear it now. After I started making videos, I tried out Pimsleur, and then I started hearing about other methods like Steve Kaufman or Professor Argelius. Like Professor Argelius' shadowing technique, and how Steve Kaufman always talked about the listening and the reading. Now, at first when I started making videos, I didn't start using these right away. It was just late. It wasn't until later on I started using these methods. And the shadowing technique by Professor Argelius, I would say that has helped me a lot, especially with like tonal languages, you know. And it's helped me with, like, I would say, like an accent reduction, pronunciation. I mean, you don't have a choice when you're doing that over and over and over again. All that repeating, you don't have a choice but to have a pretty good accent or a good pronunciation. And Steve Kaufman, he always spoke about the listening and the reading. And you know, when I first started learning like Chinese, Japanese, I didn't do that much. I didn't do that much listening and reading. And we already know what happens when you do that. Like, for myself, like, I have, like, I don't know, like, been having problems with, like, tones and accent, mainly accent. A lot of people will complain about my accent. They will say, oh, you need to fix your accent. And the reason why it's like that is because a lack of listening, and a lack of shadowing. I mean, that's the only way you'll be able to improve your accent, unless you're immersed in the culture, immersed in that culture for a certain period of time. Your accent will have improved. But for me, you know, I was speaking with a lot of Chinese people, and I will occasionally meet Japanese people, but I wasn't totally immersed in it. You know, it was just like, it was just random. So this Steve Kaufman, like, you know, I really do appreciate his videos and his advice, because, you know, I don't know how long it would have taken me to start really getting into that, like a lot of listening and a lot of reading. You know, it's helped me out a lot. So by me keeping an open mind, I was willing to try out Steve Kaufman's method, and I was willing to try out Professor Argelius' method. So, you know, as long as if it's pertaining to a language, like as far as how to go about doing it, you know, I would try it. I have an open mind. I would try it right away without any question. So, let's see. The last thing is helping others by teaching what I've learned in targeted language. Now, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. It's coming. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. So, yeah, helping others by teaching what I've learned. Now, as I've said before and explained to you guys, when I first started making videos, I had my own agenda. And that agenda was to meet natives, because, you know, I was learning like so many different languages, and I was unable to practice with a lot of the native speakers. Now, I was going to different forums, and it was pretty helpful because I would meet all kinds of people there, but I still wasn't able to get practice with all of the language I've been learning. So that's why I came up with the idea of just getting on YouTube and, you know, get out there and, you know, put it up there and get some feedback, try to meet natives that way. And I realized that not too many people were doing that. You know, you have to have a certain amount of courage, to get on YouTube and put yourself out there like that, you know, and get criticized. So that's what I did from the beginning. And then later on, I started getting these messages. People were asking me how to do this, how to do that, and they asked me, well, I've been studying this language, can you explain to me, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of, reluctant at first doing that. I was reluctant on doing it. And I said, you know what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and try it out. So I started making those video responses and putting up more lesson videos, trying to explain to them and whatnot. And, you know, over the past few years, I realized that, I learned a lot. I learned a lot by explaining. Like, it helped me to explain things better. I was able to explain things before, but now I'm a lot better at explaining certain things about a certain language. So, yeah, that's helping others. And what else? Teaching what I've learned in targeted language. And yeah, so they never, you know, like they said teaching is learning, and they ain't never lied about it. They right, because once you teach something, you learn something. Like, you may even make a mistake and you learn from those mistakes, you see. So that was the whole thing I did at the beginning. I made the videos and got feedback from the natives. You know, there were some mean comments, but, you know, that was okay. A lot of the stuff I learned a lot. So that's why I'm a better language learner today, because of those things I've just talked about. So what have you guys done? Like, what have made you guys better language learners than you were before? So I think this is a good topic. I've sort of put this question up over on Facebook. I was just curious, and I said, you know what, it'd probably be better to make a video on it, and this way I can get more people involved. So that's it. I want to know what you guys have been doing over the past few years to make you better language learners, and thanks for viewing, and I look forward to you guys' comments.